Trying out some different lighting setups just because the light that I film in front of is a window and it is very harsh against my glasses, so I'm trying out some different things today. This is a work in progress, so just bear with me for right now. Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be trying to make, I honestly have not fully decided until saying that last part. It is a toss-up. Do I want to make another dress? No, I want to make some shirts, so we're gonna do shirts. I'm sorry, but if you've been holding out to see if I try and recreate this fantastic fox cosplay, you'll have to wait until maybe next week's video. Just finished a dress in the last video. We are going to make some fall-inspired shirts, so let's see what we can whip up. So for my fabric choices today, I have 3 options, and we are going to see if I can make all 3 shirts. We're going to test it out. We're going to see if I can actually fulfill it. The first one that I want to do is probably going to be the easiest one. Red gingham baggy shirt. I think that I want to go for a more of a tight-fitted look. Fitted bodice, and then I'm going to add in the extra fabric into a little ruffle at the bottom for a small peplum. We'll stay in this shirt for right now. Okay, the next one that I want to try out is this gingham apron. I'm just gonna keep slowly layering everything on, like it's no problem. So I bought this apron maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I think I've maybe used it once as an actual apron. Just been very hesitant because I don't want to get it dirty, and I do think that there is a lot of fabric for me to use. For this one, I'm thinking of a looser high neck tank with a little bit of a ruffle at the bottom. Let's make this one a little bit of a looser fit, depending on how much fabric I can afford. And what if we have a tie at the back? I think that would actually be really cute, is having just a little tank, and then I'll have maybe like a keyhole back here with a tie. The last thing I have is this bed sheet. I love thrifting bed sheets. If you watched any of my videos before, you know that I love thrifting bed sheets. And when I saw this color, I just instantly fell in love. Anyway, we've got a lot of fabric to work with. If you have seen that video from a few weeks ago, you'll know that my idea for this bed sheet was to make it into a very poet-like blouse. See if I can muster up the courage to do buttons down the front, big billowy sleeves. Last one, we are going from a bed sheet. This is the flat out piece of design. It's going to look a lot better than this. With all of my designs ready to go, let's start with this one. I started deconstructing the apron and taking off the pocket and the straps. I want to use as much of this fabric as I can, but I was left over with the lace in the pocket, so I'll have to save them for a future project. Now that I have a block of fabric, I chose a shirt that I had fitted to my body from the last thrift flip video and traced along the sides. I started cutting out the shape of the armholes and the neck holes, leaving the back a regular crew neck shape before I decided to scoop out the back like my initial sketch. I roughly put it all together so that I can try it on to see where I need to fix the fit. I chose to lower the front a touch and to crop the bottom so that it will end at my waist. I scooped out the back to use up the neck strap to the apron and add a cute little detail at the back. I laid out the tie and added seam allowance before I added in the keyhole below. So now I have all my pieces cut and ready to assemble. I'm also adding in these side gores for a looser fit, but I should have made them a bit smaller since I would take them in at the sides a tiny bit after. Next was cutting out the lining fabric. To stay on theme, I used a thrifted pillowcase to cut out the exact same shapes for the front of the shirt and back. I pinned the straps for the back ties and sandwiched it all into the liner before I sewed around the neck and back edges with my straight stitch. Next, I did an understitch to hold the lining down, and then it was time to sew the straps. Now, this is my favorite way to do a fully hidden seams on the straps, and I left all the footage in here for me to explain better. You start by folding open the one strap, then moving the other strap on top and enclosing it inside with pins matching up the seams of the flattened strap. With this puffy strap, you sew down the armhole curve and then clip the seam allowance before turning it all inside out. This part can be a little scary as I always feel like I've messed it up, but once I start to turn it inside out, I'm relieved to find a beautifully finished armhole. Now you just repeat it for the other strap and iron everything down, and do an understitch as far up the strap as you can. This bow turned out so cute. I'm very glad that I added this in. Now to finish the assembly, I opened up the shirt to match up the side seams before sewing it together. Last steps were making the gathered ruffle for the hem. I used the waist ties and gathered them down with 2 long running stitches before attaching them to the hem, and then turning and ironing down the lining to close up the raw edges before I hand stitched it in place. Then it was all done. I really like how simple this shirt is and how I'm able to throw it on over top of my long sleeves. I also would like to mention that it is reversible and can be worn backwards, so the bow detail can be seen from the front. We are on day 2 and I have finished the top. I'm still on the fence if I want to keep this little pocket because I think I do like it as just like a plain shirt. The best part about this is the back turned out so cute. I think the next one I'm going to work on is going to be the green blouse. As far as making a pattern for this one, I'm just going to use a giant Henley that I got from the thrift store. For right now, I just need to get fabric onto my body to see how I can make it work. So let's do that one. I started by taking measurements for how baggy I wanted it to be and then loosely following along with the Bernadette banner tutorial for a pirate shirt. I cut out some big rectangles for me to piece together into a new shirt. I started by sewing up the shoulders and then roughly gathering in the ruffled sleeve so that I could see where we were starting from. As you can tell from my dancing, I was pretty happy. I'm gonna remember to sew this time. If it feels like this footage is a little fast, that's because the top came together pretty quickly, and I was very impressed with my speed at this point. Once I had the body put together, I moved on to the sleeves and wanted to have a really nice cuff. I added interfacing to one side of the cuffs before sewing around the sides and top edges. I gathered the sleeves down with 2 running stitches before pinning and attaching it to the cuffs. Then I added in my buttonholes and hand sewed the cuff closed. So now it's the end of the day. I have a fairly finished shirt. One thing that I'm kind of struggling with is figuring out what to do at the top. Indecision! Okay, I'm gonna finish up these cuffs and then I'm gonna go to bed. So, update on the green shirt. I have sat with it for a few days now. As for this green shirt, as much as I do like a simple neck, I just don't think that it's special enough, and I think that I need to rework the body. I am going to cut a sleeve side into it just so it has some better movement for the armholes. For the body, I'm going to make a yoke for the back and have a gathered in back, just nice and simple. And then for the front, I'm going to have it gathered in from the front, as well as a channel that goes along the front that will gather in there and tie in the front with a bow. I think that will give me the flow of what I'm looking for, as well as just some more interest up top. First step was to fix the sleeves, and unfortunately the part that I loved the most was then slightly ruined when I added in the sleeve curves and made the sleeves a little too short. I have plans to go back and fix this in the future, but at this point I just wanted to get this done. I lowered the neckline and cut the sleeve curves into the body, then cut out a back yoke. Next, I gathered the shoulders to the new yoke tops, and then gathered the back of the shirt to the bottom of the yoke. I finished off the shoulder seams with the other yoke piece that I made and sewed across the neck and shoulder seams, sandwiching the raw edges of the gathered front. Then I pinned and hand-stitched the back lining to the yoke. To add more gathers along the front, I measured where I wanted my front tie to go, and then added running stitches along the front, and then top stitched the hem of the bedsheet that I decided to reuse over top to make the straps. I reattached the sleeves and was left with this amazing green poet blouse. I still would like a redemption for the sleeves, but for right now, they're okay. Okay, so we have now finished 2 tops out of 3, and I think it is time to finish off this video with the last one. And I'm hoping it's not going to take me as long as it did the green one, because there are still some things on that I'm trying to tweak, and maybe I will finally finish it in the future, but it is good enough now where I can wear it without too much fuss, so that means that I can move on to the next thing. So for this red t-shirt, we are basically going to size it down, add a peplum, square neck. I think I just want some pretty straightforward straight sleeves. I don't think I can salvage this red band, which is a shame, but for the neckline that I'm going for, I don't think I'll have enough to reuse it. I started by tracing where I want the shirt to fit me, and then laid it all out flat and cut along all of my markings. The extra bottom material I cut into a ruffle. I took the extra fabric from the bottom and cut strips to make a facing for the front and back neckline. With this stretchy fabric, I find it better to make the facing slightly tighter, just so that when you sew it on, it won't stretch out. I attached them together, then used my serger to clean up the sides before I hand stitched it down with a blind hem stitch. Next, added in the sleeves while fixing the armhole curve. I added in the ruffle after gathering and then serged it to the top. I finished this shirt in less than 2 hours, which I'm pretty proud of, even if I'm not completely happy with how it turned out. Sometimes things just don't meet your expectations. So out of the 3 tops, I think that this green one is my favorite. There are a few things that I wish I could change, primarily in the sleeves, and maybe another day I will come back to it. I do really like the brown gingham tank that I made. I think I can wear it all year round, having it be a good layering piece. Obviously, in the warmer months, I can wear it just as a tank top, but in the colder months, I can pair it over top of turtlenecks or long sleeve shirts. I had a lot of hopes for the red gingham top. I'm still not 100% on it. And I think it's good to show the missteps in clothing making, because when people post things online, a lot of the times it's the finished garment and it turns out perfect, but people don't always tell you about the stuff that goes wrong or the stuff that doesn't fully turn out the way you wanted. And I just thought it'd be nice to share that from my perspective. A lot of the times I get people commenting on how they really want to start in sewing or they have just started, and what's the easiest thing to start with. And I always respond that you just have to try. It's better to try and to learn from your mistakes than to not try at all and wish you had. So I always encourage people that want to get into sewing to just try. The worst thing that can happen is that you make a mistake and you have to start over again. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider subscribing and leave me a comment below letting me know what one was your favorite. If you like this video, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye. Get those kitty purrs in there.